Yo, what is up, y'all? Welcome into Cardinalytics, an Arizona Cardinals podcast hosted by fans for the fans here on another preview Thursday with my guys, Jake, Shad, as well as we joined by a special guest. I let my guys spit their stuff and now I'm bringing my special guest. But Jake, Shad, go ahead and let them know where you can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me at Kyler Murray's burner at Kyler Murray wins. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all can find me at big_shot11 on Twitter. So yeah.
Yes, sir. So today we are previewing Cincinnati game, and I wanted to bring in a special guest who will be down there in the game, my brother Miles. Welcome in to the Cardinalytics pod. First of hopefully many. I know I'm gonna have you on here a couple of times
Yes,
before,
sir.
but
Yes, sir. Yes,
welcome
sir.
in. Where can they find you out on Twitter and tell them give you all their follows and all that good stuff?
Man, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Miles. You can find me on Twitter, Miles _Austin. But yeah, blessed. Glad to be on here. I tapped in and watched the episode y'all did last week after the 49ers game. Love what y'all doing because ain't nobody else doing this for the Cardinals, so might as well start something somewhere. You got to start somewhere. But hey, like my man Corey said, I live in Cincinnati now. Flying out to the game Saturday evening. Hopefully get to see them boys get your dub, but
Yes, sir.
get to preview this game.
Yes, sir. So I mean, quick thing on me and Miles. I have never met Miles one day in my life. I do not know anything about him, but somehow, some way, me and my man got the same favorite basketball team and favorite football team. So this really my bro. I can't lie to you. One day, I really got to link with my man and chop it up. But we on football, obviously. So Cardinals, Bengals this week, man. This is a interesting week for the Cardinals based off of they're kind of in out of a expectation role now. It's not so much of a lie down role or like they'll just fight hard role, especially against this team that we'll preview so far based on how their season's gone. They're now in the expectation role. So I mean, the Bengals 1-3 coming into the game last week, a loss versus the Tennessee Titans. They lost 27-3, kind of got pummeled most of the game. Offensively, they have not been good this year. Surprisingly for them and all their skill players and weapons, as well as their quarterback who signed a massive deal this offseason, they have not been good so far. The total offense ranking is dead last in the NFL so far, which is amazingly outstandingly trying to figure out how they can do that with all the playmakers and weapons they got. But offensively, total they're 32nd in the NFL, which is dead last. Passing they're 29th in the NFL, which is almost dead last. Rushing they're 31st in the NFL, which is again almost dead last, and then scoring they're 31st in the NFL, 12.3 points per game. So they are really struggling off the side of the ball. We'll get into why that may be. Defensively, though, for them, 24th in NFL, so not great, but we know they do have pieces on the defensive side, hopefully trying to put it together. Scoring, they're 18th in the league at 23.5 points per game allowed. Sacks, they're 12 sacks on the season, along with us, so tied for 5th in that, as well as turnovers. They have five total turnovers with a +2 turnover differential. And versus the Cardinals, again, same record as well, 1-3. Last game was a loss versus San Fran, 35-16. And while the Bengals lost 27-3, the Cardinals loss of 35-16 kind of felt a lot more closer, especially at the end. Sorry, Jake, again, I apologize for Zach Ertz not catching the ball. It hurt me as well. But a loss versus San Fran, 35-16. Offensively, the Cardinals have been really good, though. Very surprisingly, they're 12th in total offense, 22nd in passing. They haven't really aired it out for a lot of yards. They haven't had to outside of last week. But in the NFL so far, they're 6th in rushing so far, right behind James Conner, that lead horse. And they're also scoring. They're 17th in NFL at 22 points per game. Defensively on the side of the ball, started out real hot. Those first, I guess you could say, 6 quarters in the NFL season was great for the Cardinals. They held the Commanders to a very low total overall. And then they held the Giants to live the first half to a very low total overall. But now they've kind of regressed back to the mean based off of injuries, based off of missing guys like Buda Baker and stuff. So they kind of regress back to the mean. So 27th overall in total defense, 25th in scoring defense. Again, tied for 5th in sacks, just like the Bengals are at 12. And they also have 5 total turnovers with a +3 turnover differential. So real quick, before we get into the game, I wanted to let my man Miles tap in real quick. Just kind of want to figure out how you became a Cardinals fan. I think all of us, as well as we're all East Coast Cardinals fans. So kind of want to just get your background on how you became a Cardinals fan and just let the people know how, came to be.
All right, so it was, I want to say 2007, 2008. My dad went to Tennessee State, and the year before I was watching Dominique Rogers Cromartie play at Tennessee State, and I was like, all right, cool. And then ironically, the draft that 2007 season passed, to the draft came. The Cardinals drafted him. I was like, well, might as well. I mean, so that was like probably my first 1 or 2 years actually getting into football for real, like actually picking a team. So 2008 was the season that I became a Cardinals fan. Ironically, we went to the Super Bowl. I don't remember much of that regular season that much, but I remember watching the playoff game against the Falcons at my grandmother's house, and ironically watching the NFC Championship game at her house too, going to the Super Bowl, and then being growing up in Memphis, them playing the Steelers, a bunch of Steelers fans in Memphis. I was probably the only Cardinal fans in forever. Probably was the only one that I'm probably the only one most people know. But watching that Steelers game, my dad's a Cowboys fan, so I mean it was just watching that game, but just watching it, seeing how close we were to like actually catching the dub. But other than that, I've been tapped in since 2008, man. Done seen a whole lot of good, a whole lot of bad, a whole lot of questionable stuff. So I'm just glad it's starting to, even though it's not like you said, we ain't got no expectations this season. More of like a something better. Like it's light at the end of the tunnel after Kyler come back and the whole team gets rebuilt from the ground up.
Yeah, we all kind of share a similar sentiment when it becomes being fans. We all kind of had our favorite players and stuff like that coming into it, and went right into it with as a fan. So glad to hear that. Like I said, my guy, definitely gonna chop it up with him, keep going and stuff like that. But let's just jump straight into the preview for the game. So wanted to start on the offensive side of the ball, obviously. With the offensive game that we came off of last week versus a very tough defense, right? 49ers are top of the top in almost everything, and Josh Dobbs kind of showed himself a little bit. He has a lot of really good tape from this past Sunday, from just his arm, not just the processing, which we kind of already knew would be good, and just overall the play calling was what we've seen with Drew Petzing so far. But now it was kind of time to let it rip, and we saw that full flow. I think one of my favorite throws was the one that he threw from opposite hash to the boundary side of the field, getting drilled by Javon Hargrave straight in his chest, but it still went right into the hands of Michael Wilson. He was able to get a first down on that play. I just thought that's like an NFL elite throw right there. And Josh Dobbs is starting to like really put it together. Like for me, offensively, at least going into this game, it'll be really interesting. I think where Cincinnati and Miles, you can obviously can touch on this a little bit more, where I think Cincinnati is the best at their whatever they do on defense, I should say, is that D line. Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, BJ Hill, those guys up front I think they still have DJ Reader too. Those guys up front can definitely cause havoc for the game. But if you get past that second level outside of those two linebackers and Wilson and Pratt, I think their ability they have a susceptibility to be attacked. So I'm definitely looking at the passing game this week. I'm definitely thinking the Cardinals have a chance to possibly open it up this week. Obviously, it'll start with play action. I read a stat. The Cardinals are like, I think, first in amount of play action plays, and that's a lot. But we wanted, right? We wanted that from Cliff's scheme. At least I should say, I wanted that from Cliff's scheme. I wanted him to go from running the ball to or from pass heavy to more so a play action run game, and we're seeing that this week. We're seeing that, I should say, this season with the Cardinals being the top play action team. So definitely excited to see the team get open up and kind of throw the ball around the yard this week against that Bengals secondary. But Shad, I'll start with you offensively. What are you kind of looking at this week, and kind of what are your takeaways, at least going into the game so far against the Bengals?
Yeah, I guess offensively, looking to see, I guess this is going to be the first game that I feel like Dobbs actually has some expectations. So just looking to see how he plays, like with that, like, if he still plays a turnover free game and manages the game well. Continued growth from the offensive line. Like I want to continue to see them gel together. I don't know, is Froholt, I think he was on the injury report.
It was he might have been on. I think he was on there. I know Will Hernandez got added on there too as well. So those two guys.
So yeah, so I mean, if those guys are down, seeing what type of depth we have step up, like Tristan Colon, he's been pretty all right, like in his little few snaps that he's had, and I think he played some snaps last week when Froholt came out the game. And then also just I guess seeing Mike Wilson, continue to do his thing. Like if he can continue cooking from the last game that they played against the Niners. He can continue that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I'm expecting.
What about you, Jake? What you looking at for offensively this week?
Yeah, offensively, definitely Lacey Dobbs, as you said, continue doing what he's doing. Just taking shots in the pocket, getting back up, delivering the rock, but hopefully we don't see a lot of hopefully kind of escape a little bit better, maybe get some better protection. But I'm definitely looking for Hollywood, Mike Wilson, just continue doing what they're doing. Big plays, kind of like give each other some layups, set each other up. And then I definitely like to see Rondale mixing in a little bit with Connor in the backfield. Obviously, he had that one run. Like, he's literally 1 for 1, 1 rush, 1 touchdown, like at least from like a halfback standpoint. So I definitely like to see that a little bit more. I think the dude's spark plug out of the backfield. Obviously, we struggled, had him for 3-4 years, haven't really found like a significant home for him at a specific position. So, I mean, why not just try him as a halfback and just make him Connor's like de facto backup, kind of see what he can do out of there, and then make it easier for Connor instead of throwing DeMercado in the backfield, who is averaging like 0.5 yards a carry. But yeah, that's basically what I'm looking for. Short and sweet this week.
Cool. Miles, I know them people in Cincinnati. They're kind of expecting. I wonder. I do kind of wonder what they're expecting from the Cardinals offense. Obviously, they've seen it maybe and through headlines, and maybe they saw it kind of full-fledged for that Cowboys game, possibly after a win. But what are you thinking offensively for the squad this week, and like kind of how can we possibly attack that Bengals defense?
I want to say probably they're probably not even worried about like the Cardinals offense to get like together as a whole. They just are not wanting to panic because Joe Burrow, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. They just came off a Super Bowl run 2 years ago, an AFC Championship run last year. So they feel like this is a must win game for them. They are wanting the Bengals to be back to be with the team everybody in the NFL known them to be. But me myself personally, what I want to see from the offense: keep running the ball, keep featuring James Conner. Try to use Rondale more in that scat back type of role. Put him in motion, put him in the slot, put him in the backfield, get him in space because he's super fast. And we saw when we played the Cowboys 2 weeks ago that I want to say it was a 50. I can't remember if he was in the backfield on that 52-yard run.
He was back there.
Yeah, he was in the backfield. Try to switch that up. No, try to see how I want to see how Paris Johnson is with the Bengals defensive line, because Trey Hendrickson and DJ Reader are good. They might not have looked good over the past couple of weeks, but both of them are good players. But their secondary is the point where I want us to attack the most with Michael Wilson, Hollywood, because their secondary is inexperienced, and in my opinion, it's not as good with them losing Jesse Bates and having Dax Hill back there, the second-year player they drafted out of Michigan. So I just want them to keep playing the same football that they have been playing. Attack, play action, run the ball, attack those corners and safeties. The one of my main concerns might be the linebackers, because Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt are pretty good. So I want to see how Josh Dobbs go in them with the using his eyes to play them off, to not always like look straight them down or just play them off with the play action. See how they use Zach Ertz this week. We're trying to see those both of them in coverage. But I just want them to compete, man, because if it would make me so happy with me living in Cincinnati and seeing them beat the Bengals and have everybody in this city freaking out, because essentially their season is gonna be over. Because you start 1-4, it's kind of hard to bounce back from 1-4 to do anything. If we beat them Sunday, at that point they have zero margin of error going through the rest of the season at all.
Yeah, I put a tweet out there. I said, obviously, when I'm looking, every time I browse through like Bengals Twitter, whatever the case may be, it's somewhat of a get right game, as you know, a lot of people say for the Cardinals. Well, a lot of people will say for the Cardinals this year, no matter what our record will be, it'll be a get right game for them, and especially for them. And I looked at their schedule going forward, and I wouldn't even be mad if they wanted to argue that it's a get right game just because of the teams that they do have to face going forward. This is probably the least talented team they will face going forward. So, but this is not a get right game. So let's not play with us right now. But I do agree with you that like running the ball is definitely a crucial, important part of that. I mean, I want to see. I kind of do. I want us to stay with that run because it is a good foundation for the offense. But I kind of want to. I want them to open it up a little bit this week, just to see. Like we all mentioned, we kind of want them to open up this week because I think Josh Dobbs finally has that kind of rapport with the receivers right now. They're kind of in sync. They everybody has a kind of keen idea onto what they want to do. So I definitely think it'll be an interesting thing offensively this week if we kind of see Josh Dobbs up there and there 30-ish pass attempts again, but it'll be in a winning game script versus a losing game script where he's throwing 41 times just to stay in the game and keep the reps alive. So moving over to the defense, obviously I think defense will be a keen interest this week. Neither defense has played great so far this season. I don't think either defense has been very stellar. I think the Bengals' best game was against the Rams on that Monday Night Football, and then our best game came against the Dallas Cowboys on I think the same weeks, or if not, I may be wrong on that. But man, defensively, I think this week, obviously, it starts with Jamar Chase. To me, as much as I love Joe Burrow, it definitely starts with Jamar Chase. I think slowing him down in any fashion, because I'm very afraid that he might have a crazy game this week. And because we know Marco struggled this week. We know if they try to throw Garrett Williams out there, I see my guy shaking his head no. So it might not be. It might be a no for Jake. We'll see what he's feeling about that. But if they try to throw maybe Garrett Williams out there on his first week out there, or if he ends up getting against Keetrell, I think he'll win most of his one-on-one matchups. It's just about if Joe Burrow has time to get him the ball. He complained about not getting the ball. He's complained about him being open all last week. So it's kind of a thing where I feel game script coming his way a lot. So our corners will be tested, right? But a lot of the Cincinnati fans, Miles can probably attest to this, they want them to run the football. They want them to give Joe Mixon 25 carries and take it out of Joe Burrow's hands right now. They wanted them to take it outside of that pass blocking from that offensive line. So it'll be really interesting. Obviously, we struggled last week down a couple D-line against the run. So if they do choose to spam that, I think that kind of plays into our favor a little bit because it doesn't allow those playmakers on the outside to make explosive plays, which is something that the Cardinals have looked to limit all season long is the explosives. And we didn't do a good job of that last week. Last week we were terrible down the field in coverage. So I hopefully there was an emphasis on that, obviously in practice this week. But I think I want to start with Miles on this one. Obviously, defensively, what are you looking at this week? How can we, slow down that Bengals offense that it has a lot of good names on paper, but it has not played great so far this 2023 season?
I want them to keep getting pressure. Try to get pressure on Joe Burrow because the offensive line is not as good as everybody hyped it up to be. I want to see how Keytrell Clark plays against Jamar Chase because I got a feeling that'll be my main concern. And apparently T. Higgins is supposed to be playing Sunday, even though because he got a rib injury, but with ribs, I guess they healing her on, so sitting out not gonna do much. So I want to see how him and how they attack him and Jamar Chase on Sunday with Clark and Marco Wilson, even though Marco Wilson has been struggling a little bit. I really want to see the safety play when it comes to T. Higgins because T. Higgins is a big dude. He's not a small and quick receiver like Jamar Chase is. But if they can get pressure on Joe Burrow, make the offensive line close the pocket, put the offensive line in some spots where they don't want to be, I feel like we'll be in a pretty good spot.
For sure. Shah, what about you for defense this week?
I think they're gonna have to get pressure on Joe Burrow. Like they're gonna absolutely have to get pressure on him because even though he hasn't been playing well, I didn't even know that T. Higgins was probably gonna be playing. I saw he was on the injury report, and I did see like something came out and said he didn't think that he would be missing a lot of time, but I thought maybe like he still might not play this week. But if they have T, like Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, it's gonna be tough for us to defend that all game. Like if we're not getting pressure on Joe Burrow, and he's gonna sit in the pocket like how we saw Brock Purdy last week, and he's gonna dice us up if we can't really get any pressure on him. So I think that that's something that we're gonna see, like a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow to get him off his spot because right now he can't really move. And so I think we're going to be coming at him and if they feel like they can't get him with just 4 early on, I wouldn't be surprised if we start like early on in the game, see a lot of blitzing, just because he's not really mobile right now. And then if that's the case, hopefully that'll give our secondary a chance to hang around in this game. But like as Jake kind of alluded to when you said Marco Wilson, he's not gonna be able to get it done this week. Not against Jamar Chase. I mean, nobody's gonna be able to get it done this week against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So we really need that front seven to play really well this week, and that's kind of what I'm expecting to see.
Shad, before I get to you, Jake, Shad, I know it's gonna be tough for you every time we're on defense. You know, you're Joe Burrow and you're Jamar Chase Love.
Yeah, I mean, look,
you're gonna have to get past it this week. You're gonna have to get past it.
Yeah, I'm definitely past it. I mean, I feel sorry for them, but like we need this win just as much as they do. So it's like,
yeah,
it is
sure. And anybody referencing that, my guy Shad is an LSU man, so this one definitely hits his heart a little bit. But Jake, defensively, what you got this week for me?
Yeah, kind of like Shad said too. I thought T was definitely sitting as well, so that would definitely be a force if he is going to go, because
I think if he does play, it's just like a decoy type of thing, like because you put him in any type of in breaking route, like I'm going for his ribs directly. I'm hitting him right in his chest, and I'm making him
even though I feel like if he's trying to block, even like he's going to get hit up in the ribs. So I don't know. Maybe he's just tough as nails. We'll see about that. But yeah, if he does play, probably a decoy role. And then obviously too, like I was listening to you say it, Shad, like on paper, it definitely doesn't sound good. Like T. Higgins, Boyd, obviously Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, but they just haven't been good this year. So I feel like we gotta kind of try to not focus on the names and take them for like at face value, like how they're playing right now this season, which has been very poor. In my opinion, I don't even think they should have beaten the Rams. I think that I don't know if you guys watched that game, but like they basically called back a touchdown on the Rams, and then the Rams had a lot of trouble scoring in the red zone. So like the Rams should have won that game by like at least a touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I will say too, though, like in watching that game, because I really haven't watched the Bengals all that much this year outside of that one game. But I mean, maybe Miles could talk on this more so too. But their O-line, like I'm not sure how they've been playing this year, like too in depth. But it seemed like Donald was kind of held in check that game. I know he got some pressure, but at least in that one in particular, it didn't seem like Burrow was really like getting hit too much. But then to kind of like key in on Burrow himself, guy's definitely been like standing in cement this year. Like obviously the calf injury. I saw like a blurb this week that it's feeling a lot better, he's saying, but like I don't know, that could just be like kind of trying to like throw people off because he's looked very, very slow. So obviously I think he was asked too, like if it's affecting his the way he's throwing the ball, and he said no, it's affecting his escapability and his ability to extend plays, which obviously, yeah, that makes sense. But if it's not affecting his throwing ability, I don't know what's going on because he's missed some really, really bad throws. I could think of like 5 off the top of my head, like really bad passes. So, and then also too, like just to go back on, I think Corey, you mentioned at the beginning, like Jamar Chase, obviously his comments to the media, like I think Jamar Chase is like a freak of nature, great player, obviously, but those are just like piss poor comments to make. Like that's going to stir stuff up. And that just kind of like drives a wedge. Cause if I'm Burrow, I'm like, dude, like, why don't we just like have this conversation, like man to man, like not into 6 cameras and 8 microphones, like at your locker. So he's probably annoyed about that. I don't know. Maybe they're over it, but that definitely would kind of piss me off if I was Burrow. So I don't know. We'll see. But Garrett Williams, rather, I don't think he's going to play, to be honest, because he was just activated. But he is practicing, so maybe he will go. It'd be cool to see him probably, if he does play, like maybe like 12, 15% of snaps, if I had to guess 20%. But maybe get like a little sample size, so that could be encouraging. Marco, just don't allow like a passer rating of like 135, because I think that's what he's averaging. Or it might be worse. I'm not even sure. But
yeah, no, you're right.
like 138, somewhere around there. So just do a little bit better than that, and I guess that's a plus. So yeah, I guess for like shutting down Jamar, obviously you're not going to do that, but to try to limit him as much as we can, kind of like what we did with CD, like maybe mix it up, throw a couple different guys at him, try to keep guys fresh, and then hopefully Burrow just doesn't have time to find him like down the field. So obviously got to dial up the pressure. I guarantee Gardeck will get to at least 5 sacks, maybe 5.5. That man's definitely on something this year. So we'll see about that. But overall, I feel really good. I feel like low-key, I think they're overrated, the Bengals. I think they should be winless right now. And I'm not nervous. I'm fired up for this one. Like I really, especially having us as underdogs at home, 3-point underdogs. So basically saying if we were playing in Cincy, we'd be 6-point underdogs, which like Vegas and the media just continues to just disrespect the hell out of us. So we'll see.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting for me that I kind of wanted to mention on defense too is that this is the first, and maybe this is what they're talking about in their game plan room, I should say, like offensively and stuff. But like this is the first week I think that they don't kind of have to game plan for like a stud type of defensive line. And the Ravens, I wouldn't say have a stud defensive line, but I think they just work as a defensive group in that D line room to generate pressure whichever way they do it. And they ended up only having 1 sack, but still Joe Burrow was under pressure in that Ravens game. And literally they played the Browns, they played the Titans, who have Jeffrey Simmons in the middle. They played the Browns with Myles Garrett. They played who else? The Rams with Aaron Donald. So they faced some guys like so far this season, and it like that offensive line, I should say, has always had to prepare for like one elite guy or one really good guy. This week they kind of have to prepare for a bunch of okay guys, and I kind of want to see if the death of the Arizona Cardinals kind of rules the day with throwing out different pass rushers, throwing out different D linemen, and seeing what kind of may stick and seeing who makes an impact. So I think that would be very, very crucial, is obviously, like we said, generating that pressure. And if we can continue to do it without sending more than 6 guys or 7 guys, because if you start sending 6, 7 is when you get one-on-ones on the outside, and that gets scary right there. So you generate pressure with 4 or 5, you drop in 6, 7 in coverage. I think that'll be a good game plan, obviously, to slow down the Bengals. And we just want to slow them down because obviously with the playmakers that they have, with the guys that we have on defense, they should score something. But if they, the Cardinals defense goes out there and has a great game, then it'll be a good fair sight for me. I think Kaiser White is a big factor this week, especially if they try to run the ball. Doing anything, slowing down the middle of the field is crucial against this team. So I think Kaiser White should have a big game this week. But Miles, I know you're going out to the game. Obviously, what kind of things are you expecting about crowd-wise? Are you thinking it'll be heavy Cincinnati favored, or are you thinking, Cardinals might have some fans start popping out this weekend, including yourself?
I think it'll probably be a mixture of both, but because I do know that I want to say probably when I was at work about a month ago, I overheard someone say they were flying out from Cincinnati, Arizona, to go to the game. And the main reason was because, one, I think the Cardinals are going to stink. So hopefully if we win, something, there's some way where the guy comes back into work, come back into my job. I can check back with him, see how he feeling after the game. Mm-hmm. But they got us on prime time Sunday. Oh Lord. 425. But I think it'd be a good mixture of both. I guess the Bengals fan do travel well. I guess I've been seeing like little like social media not promotion, but ads about how they got fans going out there like tailgating. They got groups doing all that type of stuff. I mean, I have to see Saturday when it comes to at the airport Saturday. See what this peep and see who all's there. I think it'd be a pretty good crowd, even though like we are 1-3 at the moment. But I can sense there's we're not gonna be bad forever type of vibe. So like last year, people would go, but the Eagles fans packed out the stadium last year. Who else we play at home? I think was it. I can't. It was so many teams. The Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Eagles. It was so many teams that packed out State Farm. I almost called it University of Phoenix, but State Farm Stadium. But I think it'd be pretty good showing. I mean, it'll be my first time seeing how it is out in Glendale, how the city reacts, how the city reacts to when there's a Cardinals game. I mean now, because I mean I guess the Diamondbacks are good, so I hope maybe the Diamondbacks got a game got the game same time Sunday. Maybe it's more people down there to watch, to be around, that type of thing. But it'd be a good. I think it'd be a good time. I think it'd be a good time. Probably try to get there a little earlier. See who I can see. Probably see Kyler. My girlfriend's a Bengals fan, so she might want to see Joe Burrow, Joe DeMarte, that type of thing. So, but yeah, I feel like it'll be a good mixture of both. But it depends, because I do think if we do win the game, if we do win on Sunday, I think that home attendance will probably go up just a little bit better than what people have expected over the past couple of years.
So I heard it if we do win in that, but now it's that, you feel me, it's that portion of score predictions we giving them out. I mean, well, we'd love for you to go first, brother. I mean, you going out there to that game. What do you think for who's coming out victorious in this game out here? I know the Bengals coming in struggling, the Cardinals are coming in looking better than expected, and it's kind of a battle of the wills right now. Who doesn't kind of want to drop to 1-4? So what do you think? Who do you think's winning this game?
I'm gonna say the Bengals. They're gonna try to keep it close, but if they don't come in, like if I come in with no expectations, how they did with the Cowboys, try to get ahead early. I'll take the Cardinals 24, either 24-10 or 27-13.
Okay, you got our defense stepping on them. I like that. I like that, Jake. What you got?
I need it. I got agendas to push, Corey. I got agendas to push.
I love it.
You know it.
I love. Hey, anybody that's in here, my guy definitely be holding it down in the spaces too. I know, Shaw, you went in that one day. My Miles stay holding it down in the spaces.
Hey, for real.
They always
call me a prophet. Call me a prophet, man. Call me a prophet. That's all I'm gonna say.
They always know if there's any Cardinals fans speaking, it's either me, Miles, or Shaw. So it ain't, you feel me? Ain't no bias talk, no none of that. It's all real. So, Jake, what you got for the score prediction this week? You're feeling great based off of how you talked just about our offense and defense. So, what do you got for the score this week?
Yeah, no, I definitely feel real good about the Cardinals this week. I would probably say score prediction, knowing that defense, I'd be happy with 31-21. I'm going to say 31-21 Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think first 30 ball of the season. I like it.
I do think Jamar's probably going to hit us for like 2 touchdowns, though, honestly. And then I'd like mixing in for 1. But yeah, I'd say 31-21.
Cool. What you got for me, Shot?
Yeah, I actually think it's gonna be a closer game than that. Both of y'all got us double digits. Like, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But I do think our defense is gonna give up a little bit of points. But then at the same time, I don't think we're gonna see really any problems with our offense this week. I think maybe, at most we'll probably see like maybe 2 drives where it's just like, we probably just like stalled out. But I think our offense is going to be able to move the ball this week. So I got us winning 27-23, 4-point game, probably coming down to the wire again. And, with us being up by more than a field goal, that being to our benefit and seeing us kind of win the game in the 4th.
Yeah, I'm leaning a little bit more towards your side. I think I do think it'll also be a good game. I think just the Bengals, they can't afford to lose this game because of what would happen to them in their season based off. I mean, Joe Burrow is coming out talking about like this, they need to win for morale, which means we're talking about a locker room that's starting to be like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is not what we're supposed to be doing. So there's no doubt they're going to come out there like gangbusters. They're coming out on the road, obviously, like that. It's, the road dog mentality, all 53 versus 1,100 or however many people are in that stadium, whatever the case may be. But I do think this defense again it'll just have to come down to bend no break. Like, it has to come down to good red zone defense. It has to come because the offense on that other side of the ball, regardless of whatever the offense line is going through, like, they're too good to not move the ball against what we have defensive personnel wise. They're too good to not do that. And if they do struggle to do that, that is a huge indictment on them as a team so far, what they've been. But I do think they will be able to move the ball. I do think they'll lean on that run game a lot because I feel as though they do respect our offense a little bit more. They have to in the sense of that because they can't just give us the ball a number of times and expect their defense to continue to stop us. So like I do think they respect our offense enough to take the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands finally for the first time in his week and give Mixon 20, 25 carries and just let it see where it goes from that point. But if you hold Mixon under, 4 yards of carry, hopefully, and you force them to take up chunks down the field, I do think we have the ability to hit deep plays just over top of them because of how aggressive they think they can be against us. And I kind of got it something similar to I have it more so 24-20 Cardinals. I think it's a little bit of a slower game, but I do think it's a close game. But I do think that the 3 points as well, I'm taking that all day to the bank. I'll drop a little something on that +3 as well because it's just like this team's too good to lose. I mean, again, the 3 is a trappy number, obviously, but like at the same time, like that Bengals team has not looked good enough to beat anybody on the road. They haven't looked good enough to be a favorite. So I do think, obviously, this is the time for the Cardinals to kind of deal with expectations. And I think that was my big question for y'all before we head out is this is like, obviously, this point total has dropped. I think before the season started, it might have been around 5.5, 6, maybe even 7. And now it's down to 3 just based off of how the Bengals have looked like. So obviously the Cardinals are now dealing with some type of expectations on this team plays very hard. Obviously, we've seen that for the first 4 weeks against literally 3 playoff teams and one team that was a game away from the playoffs. So their schedule has been brutal, but they still play ball. But now you have a quarterback who kind of is getting his rhythm, and you have an offensive coordinator who is putting things together masterfully. You have a defense who has struggled, obviously missing pieces, but they have still been a defense where you don't get them for big plays. You don't get them for explosive. You have to work your way down the field against them, and they so far have tackled pretty well. So obviously they're dealing with some type of expectations. What do you all think this week? Anybody can go first. Just the Cardinals now having eyes on them as a team that obviously they're not going to be the worst team based off of any. It's hard to predict they'll be the worst team. They may end up with a bad record based off of just unfortunate things, but they're not one of the worst teams in the NFL. So a lot of that talk has to go away. And now you're talking about a team that plays tough and competitive every week. Like, what do you all think that the mindset is of the team now? Like, now that they're kind of the eyes are off of them, the bad eyes are off of them. Now that's just like, okay, well, that's a team that we kind of respect a little bit. Anybody can go first. How are you feeling?
I feel like the expectations for the team and like fans this week is definitely to win this game. I think like majority of fans like think and believe that the Cardinals are going to win this football game. But I still think that expectations around the league is like, even though the Cardinals have been playing well against tough teams, they're still probably going to lose the game. And obviously, that shows in the Vegas lines and everything. So I think on the outside, like outside the franchise, outside the organization, expectations aren't really that high still. And I think from we've already seen this team play like the worst half of football it could possibly play, and then follow that up with like some of the best half of football or the best game where they didn't, what I'm saying, they're playing against the Cowboys and in a team that they're allegedly like, the number 1 team in the league, and they had a bounce back game. So I'm not necessarily worried about them coming out like the gate and like, having a good game scoring wise, defensively early on. And because of that, like, even if they do lose the game, like, they still would have fought, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they come out and they execute like early on, which I'm expecting them to do, that still would have been a close game. So expectation wise, like, I don't think they can lose this week personally.
I agree. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying before the season, like with everything going on, I was still saying, like, I think this team is capable of winning 9 games. Obviously it definitely sounded like a lot of hopium. But
I've never heard that one before. Hopium. I'm not starting to use that shit.
Hopium. But in my opinion, I know obviously Shad is like a big Cliff guy, but I just feel like the Cliff in the Kime era was just such disgusting football that like it even took a guy like Kyler Murray, who lives and breathes football since the time he was a little kid, right, to just like clearly hate the game. Like Like last year, Kyler Murray was not happy with the game, like whatsoever. It really showed. And I think he was checked out. And I can't really blame him. Like it was like trying to play JV against varsity and you're getting your ass kicked every single time. And that, like, I honestly feel like that's how Kyler felt. And his coach just wasn't competent. Like I said, Cliff, great guy, but that whole thing was just an absolute mess. And I knew, like, watching Monty Austin and like what he did in the offseason, in the draft, it's like, okay, like we got something special here. Like I looked into him the second we got him, and it was like, was with New England for like 18 years, like studying under Belichick. He was like, I think he was like a double major. He has like multiple degrees and like economics and something else, I think like math or science related. But it was like, all right, like we got a dog. Like this is not Steve Kahn, like DUI, like on the ground, like that famous picture, like holding his neck. Like it was like, here we go. Like this is someone I can get behind. Like, and that was great. And then Gannon, like I love the hire. Petzing, like obviously Rollis, like we just have dogs in the locker room, like from a coaching standpoint, and it's a competent organization with a clear mission, a clear focus, and just a no bullshit policy. There's no phone rule. Like it's a no bullshit policy. And I think like in today's day and age, like that's what it's going to take to get guys to buy in. And that's clearly what we're seeing is the guys in this team are bought in top down for like throughout the entire organization. People are bought in. Like you see it. James Conner looking rejuvenated. Like Kazir White is just absolutely bought in. I'm sure Buddha's like dying to get back. Kyler's dying to get back. We have Josh Dobbs, who's been in the league this is his 7th year, looking like a guy that's on the map. Like no one even knew who this guy was outside of like last year when he got some playing time. And we have this guy playing like top 15 quarterback style in the league. And I know you guys have seen those rankings too. Like just utter bullshit, not like seeing him like ranked towards the bottom. It's like, all right, clearly like this is a small market team and people just aren't watching them because this guy looks legit back there. But like going back to the original question, my bad, went off a little tangent, but I'm very confident that we're gonna win this game, get to 2-3, and at that point it's like, all right, like enough of this power rankings having us like late 20s, like put some respect on our name. Like we're closer to like 15 in my opinion, like middle of the pack. Because you look back at the tape, right? Like a lot of winnable games. We've had a lot of winnable games, and we've been right there. Just haven't been able to quite get it done outside of Dallas. But even looking back on last week, like our offense looked great. Like we were playing against the number 1 team in the league by far, the Niners. Right now, we obviously have things we're still working on. Our guys are still learning and coming along, but. Like I like what we're building, and I'm very, very confident that we are going to win this week. I don't see like through 4 weeks. It's like, all right, this is not a fluke. Like based on the way we've been playing, the way that they've been playing, we should win this game. Like as Shot said, I expect to win the game.
Yeah. Miles, what do you think about the team? Just their expectations, like I said, did not suck this year, and like how do you think they kind of will handle that in the locker room, and kind of how Gannon may push that in the locker room of like, okay, guys, we're on the map now a little bit. Like you got to lock in every week and continue to lock in. Like, how do you think they'll handle that?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, bro, I'm not. All I heard, or all I saw was as soon as the season was over with, you're going 1-16, 0-17. You're trading Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray not gonna be there next year. That's not the GM's guy. The GM gonna want his own quarterback. Y'all gonna suck. They're gonna be the worst team in the league. I'm like, bro, we're not drafting Caleb Williams. I don't want Caleb Williams nowhere near my football team. Kyler Murray, I have not given up on Kyler Murray yet. I've been preaching that to the choir all off season. I still do it to this day. I still do it on the timeline, group chats, spaces, all of that. But I feel like one, it was this they've heard it's not like disrespect because we know the team's going through a rebuilding period. But I think it's the disrespect of the fact that they think this team would just be flat out god awful to the point where they would go out there, get beat up on every week, and not even win a single game. But now that people are seeing that they are not as bad as people thought, even though they don't have the talent that everybody compared to most teams, that they are competing and they got a coach who, even though people joked on Jonathan Gannon when he said, "I want fucking killers." Oh yeah, look at him, he's a clown. It's not funny. But now, after beating the Cowboys and playing these games tough these first 4 weeks, I'm like, oh, maybe Jonathan Gannon got something. Maybe they got something going on over there. Well, now people are saying, well, when Kyler Murray, now people are saying if we had Kyler Murray through the first 4 weeks, we could be 3-0, 3-1, or 3-1. We probably still would have lost to the 49ers, but 3-1 would have been surprising some people, looking really, really good. So I mean, I feel like it's just the fact that nobody on the team wants to lose. All the like the bad stuff is gotten out of there. Isaiah Simmons gone, Cliff Kingsbury gone, Steve Keim gone. All the people who didn't want to be there, who just was there just to be there, are gone. So now it's like a new feeling in the locker room, new feeling in the organization. People actually feel like they got some going. They got a goal they're not moving towards, and not just being mediocre how they have been for the past couple of years. So I just feel like they're trying to not make a point, prove a point. But I think they're probably just tired of disrespect, because I know if I see it, people saying they're gonna be picked first, or a team like the Bears. You know, I love Justin Fields. Like the Bears exist, the Broncos exist. I think the Vikings are 1-3 too. Nobody cares. Nobody's talking about them being super bad. The Patriots suck. Like I think it's just that they realize what they have, and all you got to do is just have some hope and have some belief. And Jonathan Gannon gave them boys some belief, and now they just fighting until Kyler come back. And when Kyler come back, who knows how the team gonna look. I'm not saying they're gonna fight for no playoff spot. They might do is just ruin some playoff seeds here and there. You might have a San Francisco who want to get the number 1 seed. They might beat San Francisco. You might have the Seahawks who want to get a wild card spot. They might end up beating the Seahawks on the game they might need to win. It could go the same thing can go for the Rams. Any of those teams that they play coming down the stretch of the season that everybody knows are clear playoff teams and are fighting for seeding or division races. They play the Cardinals. Like, look, bro, this ain't gonna be no walk in the park. This ain't gonna be no automatic dub. Like I see it all the time. Since the start of the season, everybody been posting out their tweets of NFL picks. Nobody's picked us at all in no game. The Commanders game, everybody picked the Commanders. The Giants game, everybody picked the Giants. The Cowboys game, everybody picked the Cowboys. Even though we beat the Cowboys all the time. I come to you the last time we lost to the Cowboys. It's been a little minute, but. Now with the Bengals, everybody's picking them. Like, okay, I saw one person pick the Cardinals. I'm like, all right, cool. But other than that, man, I'm like, they I guess they just tired of disrespect. But because the team's not bad. It was just poorly put together. That's all it was. It was the wrong people in the wrong spots. The defense was horrendous. I mean, they had people who didn't necessarily want to try. And don't get me wrong, some of the players they're gonna be on the team this year probably won't be there next year. It might be some small people like. It might be a few pieces that's not gonna be there next year, but for the people that saying that we gonna trade Kyler Murray, that the team doesn't want to win, like what NFL team don't want to win? They don't make no that you gonna want the team unless you the Bears. No disrespect to any Bears fans out there, unless you the Bears, you have no reason to want to win unless you Justin Fields and you playing for a team that want to trade for you. Like the Cardinals aren't
today though. They trying to win today.
Man, they trying. They sure good job of it. But I just don't like the fact that people keep saying we're gonna be the worst team in the league. Gonna be tanking for Caleb Williams. Kyler Murray not gonna be there. Nah, bro. Kyler Murray. I already got a bet. I already got a bet with somebody. Kyler Murray is gonna be on this team next August or next September when the NFL season starts, and he's gonna be the quarterback. Like he's gonna be the quarterback that can take us to where we want to take him. He just need people. He need a competent line and a defense that can get some stops. And he got a coach who believe in him, offensive line who believe in him, and the GM and the owner who still believe in him. Michael Bidwell they didn't draft that man they didn't draft him for no reason. They just had to get Cliff sorry butt out of there. Now Cliff gone. Now we gonna see what we can do.
Tell you, shot.
Y'all gotta leave my man Cliff alone, bro. Like,
bro.
Nah.
Look, Shaw, what's crazy? You talking about Cliff? Cliff almost had USC blowing that game last Saturday.
I mean,
he had USC.
He not calling the plays for them though. I don't think.
Man, he doing something with the offense. The offense looked
Yeah,
bad in
I
that
don't
second
think he
half.
called the plays for them.
Man, he doing something. 'Cause they almost lost to Colorado, man. They was not supposed to almost lose their game.
Yeah, but
Man.
I just always felt like, man, the roster like didn't like it just didn't help anybody out. It didn't help Kyler out. It didn't help Cliff out. And hell, like, we talk about the defense, like we don't even include the defense when we talk about Cliff. We just really think about offense, but the defense, they weren't helping nobody out either with how Vance was running shit over there.
Mhm.
So I mean, I just always lean towards that being like more of the issue. Not saying Cliff ain't have no faults, but that's just
Hey,
that's how I look at it.
you know me, man.
You see how Van's doing in Denver right now.
Yeah, yeah.
70 points and shit. But hey,
Y'all know me, man. Anytime we get to throw some dirt on Cliff Grave, man,
man,
I'm
I'ma
bringing
always
I'm
do it.
bringing a nice big old
Oh
shovel.
man.
I'm
I'ma
dumping some more on
always
that,
do it.
bro.
Hate
But
that man.
I I did want to say to Miles, bro. I'm jealous that you going to the game this weekend. I have yet to be to a game. I have yet to go to a game in Arizona. In
This is
fact, the
my
one
first.
time,
This is my first time, bro. And I'm super
uh-huh,
excited. I can't wait.
Dude,
yeah,
such a
uh,
sick stadium. So, dude, so clean, like just real
mhm.
nice area. You're gonna have a time.
mm,
Yeah, I went in 2017, and of course, like when I went, that was the one game that they weren't playing. Shoot, they weren't even playing in the States. They were playing in London. And
Oh,
I had went to a bar to watch that game, and it was horrible. Like I ended up at a Browns bar, and the Browns sucked at the time.
mhm.
And somehow they beat the Steelers that day, and the Cardinals didn't put up a single point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. I remember that game. Remember that game like it was nothing,
Yeah.
and just was ready to disgust myself watching that game. But overall, like I, I agree with all y'all sentiments on the expectation point. Like it comes to a point. I think I seen Hollywood Brown say something today. It was like I don't really think they are looking at so much of the winning and losing versus just how are we playing, how are we executing, how are we preparing. And I've said this, like I said, for the last couple of weeks now. It's just that's refreshing to see this week is that it's not pressure. It's not the pressure of winning and losing this year. It's not the pressure of like you can tell Cliff every week or Kyler every week last year was just like in the advance to a certain point every week. It's like it's a lot of pressure to start winning these games because you just came off a playoff run. So you want to get back to doing that, and you could see the pressure start eating these guys up versus this year, it's a lot. I'm not going to say carefree at all, but it's definitely a lot more less stress, less pressure. Let's just go out there, let's execute, let's play ball, let's do the best that we can do to our capabilities. And so far, they're taking full advantage of that by you seeing what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball. You see what they were early on in the season defensively when they had all their pieces. And hopefully, midseason when we get those guys back like LJ Collier and Carlos Watkins, hopefully when those guys come back, you start to see that that presence defensively come back, and you have a more cohesive team working all together. So overall, like as many times as I said, man, it is not about the wins and losses. It's always about the process. And if that process looks good every week, I will come on here every Tuesday and I will be happy about the win or loss regardless, because I know my team is heading in the right direction with 2 first-round picks, with a GM that knows how to draft way late in the rounds and get players that are 6-rounders that can start instantly in week 1. So I'm very content with that. And I think expectations, I don't think anybody in that locker room is really caring about anything anybody's saying about them. I just think they're focused on themselves. I think Hollywood Brown mentioned that today. Just focus on us, and everything will come out how they want it to. So hopefully, we're celebrating a win on Tuesday. I think all of us are expecting a win. But it comes down to obviously execution. It comes down to is this team going to seize the moment? A lot of eyes will be on you because a lot of people want to see the Bengals fail. A lot of people do not like the Bengals. At the end of the day, I mean, I don't know why. A lot of people just don't like the Bengals.
Fans.
I knew why. I just didn't want to be honest with him. But we
It's
all
the
know why
fans.
nobody likes the Bengals. But they've been very chatty, and they've been very talkative this week about how they feel like this game can be one that they can seize and then let the chips may lie. But obviously, us as fans, Cardinals, like we're not. It's not going to slide. It's not going to slide. We're going to give them a hell game, and we're going to make them scratch and claw for every inch. And if they want to win that game, I mean, it's going to come out with them limping. It's going to come out them with a couple cuts and a couple bruises, and we'll see who wins that game this day. And I think hopefully this year, obviously with this new regime, they take a pride in that playing at home and winning at home. Like a lot of things, past regime, it was just more so like you let a lot of games at home slip away. This team We obviously saw it the last home game. Like this team kind of wants to protect the nest. So I miss protect the nest. Protect the nest was the foundation of the Cardinals. It used to always be the foundation of the Cardinals with sellouts and teams not coming in there like that. Like it needs to go back to that, and I think the team prides itself in that. So, anything anybody else got to say before we head out?
Nah, Miles, have a time, bro. It's gonna be
can't wait.
Be a great game.
And Miles, hopefully we'll try to have you on here Tuesday. Try to get you on a recap based on see how the game went for you overall. See how the vibe was out there and all that too. So appreciate anybody that came through, and we will catch y'all on Tuesday for the recap.
All right, see y'all.